DC seems to be heading towards a total reboot. New actors, new stories, new universe. Hey everyone, welcome back to our movie news. Some of the worst news regarding DC has just come out from The Hollywood Reporter, and I have to say, I am very disappointed. I've always said to keep an open mind until we have evidence to say otherwise, and unfortunately, it seems like we have that evidence. This news has come from The Hollywood Reporter, and my reaction in this video is if a full reboot is happening. The Hollywood Reporter is pretty much an official mouthpiece for studios, so there is a high chance this is true, but I still want to clarify that my reaction to this news is with the mindset that this report is true. DC seems to be heading towards a total reboot, and I am very upset about this. I was really backing the DCU, and to see that they are taking the easy way out is really disappointing for me. And according to this article, it was James Gunn's and Peter Safran's decision, and that Discovery executives had a different path in mind, and I have to side with the Discovery executives on this one. I'll link the entire article in the description below so you can have an in-depth read of it, but we will just focus on the main talking points here. So it seems that Wonder Woman 3 has been cancelled by the studio, as well as Man of Steel 2. Yes, you heard that correctly. Henry Cavill's Man of Steel 2 seems to be cancelled by DC Studios. So after all those big announcements and after all that fan hype, excitement and passion for Henry Cavill's Superman returning, it seems that he won't actually be coming back at all. What a disgrace. What an insult to the fans, to The Rock and to mainly Henry Cavill. For years, Warner Brothers disregarded Henry Cavill's Superman. Then The Rock finally gets him back, so Cavill can play the character that he has loved since he was a child, and then you kick him out again. What an insult to everyone invested in that character and storyline. How can anyone trust the studio again? First we get Justice League 2017, then we get the mess since then, and then we get promises of his return, and now you're kicking him out again. They're making every person who promoted Cavill's return look like a fool, and you're slapping the fans in the face. I know this DC universe has been messy, and if we had no progress made from the studio, and there was no chance any of these characters could go anywhere, then I would completely understand this reboot. In fact, under the old regime, I said a reboot would probably be the best idea. But so much has changed since then. They promised to bring back the biggest superhero of all time and have set up a really exciting future, and now they're going to ignore all of that and start again. It seems that Lobo will be a main focus in the new DCU and will be played by Jason Momoa, who will be leaving the role as Aquaman. You guys know that I've been really trying to stay positive and optimistic for the new DCU, believing that they will simply bring organization to the DC universe. This is not organization. This is nothing more than giving up. They are choosing the easy decision, not the right one. This is just another case of hyping the fans up and massively letting them down. Every fan that has been invested in this franchise will be disregarded because DC decided to choose the easy route instead of thinking of the fans and trying to fix the DCEU, which, may I say, wasn't as broken as some may think. There are so many better avenues to go down than a reboot, but James Gunn and Peter Safran seem to not want to do those things. And I have to be honest, if this news is true, which it most likely is, that a full reboot will be happening at DC, I will pretty much be done with the DC universe. All my love and loyalty and passion to this franchise will be gone. What this shows is that if the films don't do well, or as well as they hoped, then they won't try and improve the quality of the films already set in that universe. They will just reboot it, no matter what they've promised to you. So why should I be invested in this rebooted universe when my favourite versions of these characters are being erased? There is still so much potential for this universe, and this honestly feels like a really lazy decision. Instead of having to think about how to make the current universe better, they have decided to just get rid of everything and everyone and start again. Just why? Why give up on something that so many fans have loved? Sure, it hasn't been perfect, and sure, the fandom is divided, but they've made steps on improving the DC universe and uniting the fandom, so why suddenly do a 180 on that and reboot the universe? Why? It's a question that I keep on asking, and I can't think of one valid answer. Even if the recent films haven't made a profit, look at why that is. It's because audiences aren't convinced by DC. They've abandoned their biggest characters and the universe is messy. Don't just look at it and decide to reboot. Think about those implications and how they can improve the already existing universe. I'm a DC fan with far less DC knowledge than a lot of fans, and I created an entire web series that has new stories set in the DCEU that I think is a far better decision than rebooting the universe. A reboot should be the last resort, and it feels like they've skipped quite a few solutions just so they can get to the easiest one. I am just very disappointed in this news. So much potential wasted because a reboot is easier than doing a few adjustments to the DC universe. I had so much excitement for DC, and with a few simple announcements, that excitement has all but gone and been replaced by a deep sadness. All I can say now is that I'm grateful for the incredible films that have been created in the DCEU. Mainly the Snyderverse films. Those films have been my favourites in the DC universe, and the films I've wanted to see continue the most. I'm grateful that the Snyder Cut got released and that I can now watch it whenever I want to. Easily the strongest storyline in the DC universe right now for me, and one that should have continued. If they're going to reboot the universe, then at least allow the Snyderverse to continue in a separate timeline so that those incredible actors can complete the incredible story that was set up. I don't care if you didn't like those films or if you blame Snyder for the mess DC is in. I loved his movies, and I've always wanted him to continue his story in one way or another. And if a reboot does happen, then I will push for the Snyderverse all the way, because it will be the only thing in the live-action DC universe that I have truly ever been able to follow and connect to. The only storyline in the live-action DC universe that was consistent, that had my favourite heroes involved and my favourite actors. If you're gonna forget the DCEU and everyone involved, at least let them carry on in a separate universe where they work together as the Justice League and take on Darkseid and his army. For me, going back to square one is just exhausting. It's like we've had 3 steps forwards and 10 steps back. And it's been reported by The Hollywood Reporter, so it's pretty much official. Apparently next week, DC will present this plan to David Zaslav, and I am praying Zaslav rejects it and tells them to work with what they've got, because if a reboot happens, then the DC universe would have wasted so much potential, and DC Studios would have disrespected a lot of people. And I want to make it clear that my reaction in this video is if a full reboot happens. It still may not happen, and if it doesn't, then I will be very much on board with the DC universe. But if it does, then I will really not be happy with DC. But I'm going to try and be as hopeful as I can until we have more information. But make sure to let me know what you think of this reboot news in the comments below. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here again soon, so until then, have a great day. Bye!